Well, happy Saturday, folks. The real Captain Kirk here. We're live from One Bethlehem Plaza here in downtown Bethlehem here on the 21st of February here, getting ready for a big nor'easter here coming up the East Coast, but kind of a mild day today to here, but that won't be the case here coming up. Talk about the storm here in just a second here. We're proud to sponsor this, again, event, Domo Palooza. It's March 24th through 27th out in Utah. Again, if you want to learn everything AI data and making it actionable, again, we're excited to be a part of this again this year. Last year was Shaquille O'Neal and Sticks. It was just an epic event, thousands of folks. So again, sign up here. We're going to be talking about our year ahead predictive analytics. Again, predicting seasonal sales, year ahead, everywhere on earth, by store, warehouse, you name it. That's what we do. So again, everyone wants to know here about the big nor'easter here. So we asked the robots here again. Here's the snow event here starting here today, and then the big event starting here Sunday in the mid-Atlantic, and then exploding here along the East Coast here Sunday night, Monday. Again, solid 1 to 2 plus feet for the about 60 million peoples from DC all the way to Maine. Looking at Tuesday, things was fizzled down a bit here, Wednesday and then Thursday, and then we'll aggregate the whole 6-day period here. 1,777% more snow than last year. So a lot, not a lot last year, a lot this year. Most in 11 years, fifth most in 41 years, 75% above average, and about 46% of the U.S. population getting snow. And again, about 60 million folks here. Things that can go wrong with big bomb nor'easters like this that come off the coast is that there's several factors. You can get a dry slot. So as dry air comes in from the top of the storm here in the northeast, comes into it, you can get someone that gets dry. And just to the west, you got a major kind of a frontogenesis effect where there's another band to the northwest that actually gets just trained on snow after snow after snow. The other factor is this is developing during the daytime hours. So this will start as some rain and mixed snow in the DC and southern Jersey areas, and then change over to all snow by afternoon and then overnight. So that can be a limiting factor as well. And then just big bombs like this can just suck it all in like a hurricane, right? So it can quickly pull it in from the west and northwest regions. Net though, is we're still pretty confident here that this is a good 1 to 2 foot for, again, a lot of folks here. A big thing here, again, we always ask the AI robots here at 360, again, what are we thinking for severe weather here? And again, this was kind of scary here. This was our year ahead severe weather outlook that went to some insurance folks and clients. Actually predicted, I'm kind of shocked here, someone brought this up the other day, that we said avalanche in our spring outlook here in California. So hit that. We talked about wildfires in Oklahoma, not too far off on the general geography. And again, number 3, the big nor'easter here along the East Coast, again, and even droughts in New England. So we had kind of a dry winter, but a lot of snow. So you don't need a lot of precip to make a lot of snow here in the Northeast. This may not actually be the last blizzard. We still think one can go through the Midwest and probably get another storm here, not as big as this one, in the Northeast as we get into March. The big pattern transitioning here is El Nino. Again, we're going from La Nina to El Nino. And so again, these are ocean temperatures versus last year. But one way we know this is, again, models, I'm not a huge fan of that, but again, they all point to El Nino by late spring, if you use the RI models, and maybe mid-spring by the NOAA inset models. But again, what we like to do is just, again, look under the water. Let's look at the empirical evidence that's showing you what's happening. This was back in November. Typical cold waters in the heart of La Nina. And then now look what happened here. Just this huge warming. This is below the surface now, entire equatorial Pacific, but a huge surge of rapidly warming water. So no doubt El Nino is coming for sure. And that'll eliminate this. Again, we have been in these long La Ninas tend to make drought in Americas, North and South America. So we're at 74% of the country in dry to drought phases. That's the most in we're about 26 years to have this much on the ground. So dry, but we think that'll drop to 44% by probably summer to early fall. So again, it's going to get to Brazil's already there. They're the wettest in 14 years. We're about to head there next. Flu is kind of flatlined here. Again, it's still above baseline again, but way below last year, down about 42%. Way off of our peak too, from back in the last week of December here. We'll see. Australia had a secondary spike in the spring with this cold, stormy weather. Chance we could see a little bit of an uptick as well. Look at real quick at last week world summer here, ending today here. Warm week, 6.8 warmer than last year, warmest in 15 years, third warmest in 41 years for the U.S. overall. So big red bullseye here. Now this big map is trends versus last year. Snowfall, while it was down about 43%, was still 19th most, so about average. And rainfall up 27%, wettest in 5 years, 12th was in 41 years. We'd like to see warm, dry as the theme for stronger retail store traffic, seasonal sales. Had some of that. Not so in Europe, Russia, even the UK. Number 1 wettest in over 41 years, which is extremely wet there in parts of Europe with the Olympics going on. Maps inset left here are the trends versus average. Look at season date snowfall here ending today here. Not a huge change from last week. It's still up about 3.4% more than a year ago, most in 5 years. 20th least in 41 years, so kind of in the middle of the pack, just a hair below average. Tale of two halves, though. East Coast, most in 11 years, most in 5 in the North Central, and West Coast, about least in 41, even after some of this heavy snow they've had. Snow cover here this morning is about 40% of the country. 36% would be average. Last year was about 57, but a lot of light snowpack last year. Heavier snowpack here in the Northeast, and that obviously is going to get even heavier. And we finally added some heavier snowpack in the West after a very slow start this winter. Cold 32 degrees are up just a fraction of a percent here, but again, we are the most in 4 years, still well below average on those really cold days. Looks like the second biggest snowstorm here coming up the East Coast this weekend is going to be the second snowiest week of winter, and I'll probably round out the top two. So number 1 will be that last week of January, number 2 will be late February, and number 3 would be that week in middle December here. So again, bars show the trends versus last year. The other thing we got to watch here is the model's just doing a horrible job right now. The models have been saying here for the eastern storm, we've gone from 0 to 30 to 4 to 20 to 10. I mean, it's all over the place. And again, even today, we've got one model that says 1 inch of snow here at Lehigh Valley, eastern PA, and others that say upwards of 15. So again, they're not doing a great job. Part of that's this polar vortex. It's elongated, ragged, and just think of it as a 1,000-mile wide tornado going up about 50,000 feet in the atmosphere. And again, as these perturbations come around, it brings chunks of cold air, just so rapid in chaos here. This is pure chaos theory here that models just can't keep pace with this. So we know that March is probably going to have some much colder periods here, some warm-ups in the west. But again, I don't think winter is over by any means here. We look at this week here, week ending the last week of February here. Again, colder trends now. 7.5 colder than last year. Coldest in 3 years. Still 13th warmest because it's tale of two halves. Cold east, warm west. Snowfall again off the scale here. Most in 15 years. And rainfall also up 126% wetter than a year ago. Well above average. So cold, wetter, snowier. Not the theme we want for retail. So we'll see a little bit of a pullback here after the February thaw here the past couple weeks. Look at next week again, tale of two halves, spring west, some warming as we get to the east. We'll see about this. Again, I would be concerned if you live from maybe Minnesota down to Virginia, those areas would be more susceptible to a polar vortex invasion here. So it's still cool for those areas, but this could go colder. So we're saying 2.5 warmer than last year for the nation overall, 7th warmest in 41 years, 59% less snow. Again, we'll see about that, and 13% drier. So again, models didn't do great this 2 weeks out last week, and I don't think they're going to do that great here 2 weeks out this week, coming week. We agree with these trends here, world 2-week temperature trends here through the 7th of March. Again, general theme is colder across Canada and the eastern U.S., kind of cool down there in Brazil, warming up pretty big time here in Europe. And again, we look at precip here, way above average across Brazil, some parts of Argentina. Again, good for their crops in the ground. They're having again, typical El Nino, starting to eliminate their drought years that they've had for almost a decade now. Here in the U.S., stormy northeast, pretty dry in the southeast and the west. So with that, folks, again, don't forget here in about 8th of March here, we're going to be springing ahead. So daylight savings time is coming. So you'll lose an hour of sleep, but again, it's coming. With that, folks, have a great week ahead, and we'll talk to you again this time next week.